Welcome to Watch and Complain. Today's episode,
starring
me,
and
you,
and
him.
Couldn't have done it better myself.
Phil, Bill, and Will.
There you go.
Is my mic out of? Should I move it up?
You should probably move it up a little bit.
Just a taste.
Yeah, we want the front. Yeah. There
Yeah,
you go.
get it in there.
Yeah, just put it right.
Force it in.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes.
Did you go see it?
No, I'm
You
not.
should have. You should have.
I'm not gonna
yeah.
risk my life to go see a movie.
Risk my life.
As
I'm
soon
not
as
dead.
Do you
this
know how many COVID
movie
cases we have
Dub-
here?
started,
Do you know how many
as
COVID
soon
cases
as this
are
movie started,
non-immunized people?
I was like, you know what it is?
Most.
Apparently, a lot of it is people who have been vaccinated, but they're not going to die. That's why apparently, I don't know if it's true, the death is low, but the number of cases is high.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't mean cases. I mean people in the hospital, people who are like
Hospitalizations.
On ICU, all that is pretty much mostly
We're now
non-immunized.
the most in Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
Dr. Kieran Moore got promoted from being our city doctor to being the head doctor in Ontario, so he left, and then our cases went up. Not
Really?
exactly
Yeah, it was
right,
his
but that
fault.
and it's the winner. It's just when you have somebody too good and you don't have somebody to replace them, like your favorite franchise.
You know
That's
what's
what happens.
crazy? And then we'll talk about Ghostbusters. My sons were curious this morning how many people have died in America from COVID deaths. The number is 770,000 compared to Canada, which is 26.5 thousand, which means that for every one person in Canada that has died of COVID, 26 people have died in America. That's fucked up.
Well, it's just 2.6 times higher then, isn't it? Because they have 10 times the population.
But the point is, for every one, there's been 26. And when you think of that in fill a fucking small island with 26,000 people, now fill a small island with 770,000 people, that gives you like, holy shit, dude, that's a huge difference in the amount of people that are gone.
Anyway,
that sucks.
Those concerns are why we didn't go see the movie, or I didn't go see the movie.
Yes, that was the reason.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I was the only one person. Well, not me. My family were the only people in that row, so I'm good.
How many
people in the theater?
Yeah.
We're in the theater.
I was gonna say how many people in the family.
I'd say it was half full.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have space between or no? They got rid of those restrictions.
They got rid of those, which is bad choice. Like now that we know, I'm wondering because
It's because they can't be profitable without it because theaters.
Well, no,
are
I
terrible.
get that.
Did you go to Landmark or Cineplex?
I went to Cineplex, and I today got my Spider-Man tickets for the Thursday it opens.
Why are people freaking out or crying when they get the tickets without having seen the movie? That's
It
what
was,
I'm
it was
wondering.
the same as, remember that when you saw the videos of the people
I'm
freaking
happy
out for
because
Phantom
I
Menace?
want to watch it. That's
The
why.
people that were crying.
wanna watch it as soon as it comes
watching a
out.
trailer. I'm not going to cry when
Can
I watch a fucking trailer.
Small break from Ghostbusters. I want to ask you.
we
Phil.
haven't talked about
I know.
Ghostbusters. What are you talking about?
Well,
No, I don't care. It's good.
Is this? Do you think that it's going to be as good as Homecoming by any chance?
I think it'll be better.
Same,
You think
same here. Yeah,
Really?
I think it's going to be better than Homecoming.
Okay, is it going to be better than Spider-Man 2?
Like the original?
Yes.
Yes. Everything's better than Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
The
you don't like-
original?
You didn't like
Sam
Spider-Man 2
Raimi's
as
Spider-Man
as Doc
2?
Octopus?
Why not? Because too many people find out.
Wait, which one was
Dr.
he?
Sam
Octopus.
Raimi.
Which one was he? The emo one? Was that 3?
That was number
That's
3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, that one sucks. Balls.
You got me.
What about the one where it's not going to be as good?
No, it'll be
Right,
better.
because the Scooby-Doo that crap.
Okay.
Oh, God. Not to mention, Zendaya needs to... I hope she dies.
But
in the end of
she's
that
not,
movie.
she's not going to.
no, yeah.
But
Because it wasn't Mary Jane, it was Gwen Stacy.
Yeah,
but it's
they're
not
gonna
like
fix
a
for
shit. I like the parallel of that in the trailer, though.
God, I just hope
That's
she
why
dies.
everybody hopes that it's
She
Andrew
is
Garfield
so
that's
Yeah,
obnoxious.
it's the whole trailer's a bait and switch, which is good.
Which I like.
Is
I
it-
like that idea.
do you
I think that's a fucking interesting thing to do. Because when's the last time you saw a real bait and switch like that? We saw them with Star Wars Force Awakens. There's a
Predators.
huge...
Pretty much any
huge-
Marvel trailer where you think that's going to be the movie when it's only the first 10 minutes.
But with this one, there's a lot of... I don't think that's Tom Holland. I have a sneaking suspicion that's Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield in that. I'm looking for... It's the first movie in a while. The first Marvel movie in a long while where I am excited to go see it. I was zero interest in Shang-Chi, zero interest in Eternals. wanted to see them to,
Saw them anyway.
see, to see us,
Feed the
to say I
corporate
saw them.
agenda.
The
But I am-
international version of the Spider-Man trailer shows one of the characters being hit by no one.
Oh, really?
so it's like we know something's happening.
So Phil, are you in favor of that like bait and switch where they're editing things out of the trailer?
I'm fine with it because I want to be surprised when I'm in the theater.
Do you think
as
it's
much as I'm not going to be
so? It
surprised because I
actually
kind of
works.
know. But
Somebody tell Sony it like this actually works because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, it's so stupid that
The
they're
problem
trying
is
to
if
hide
it
and we
works,
can.
fucking Sony's going to do it to everything else that
what
they
else
have
are they
coming
going to do?
afterwards.
Just straight up tell you, and then it's not as fun.
Or they could cut like a more interesting trailer. I didn't think it was that interesting.
I enjoyed
For
it.
the Marvel fans, it was like it was giving you what you needed.
Okay,
It gave you like this bad guy, this bad guy, this
My-
bad guy. Oh, this happens. How is that going to happen? I don't know.
My-
Variants. Woohoo!
last
You and your
question
fucking
then.
variants.
I love variants.
My last question from before moving on from Spider-Man though, what did you think of Far From Home?
Oh, okay. Which one was that? Because my memory's
You've
Exactly,
watched
that's-
these Spider-Man
is
movies,
that the
haven't you?
France
problem
one or
with
the
the
Venice?
whole. That's it's the
Okay,
problem
I
with the
didn't
whole
like that
series.
one.
Yeah,
Didn't like it? I thought it was
I
all
think
right.
I think it's gonna be in line with
That was Mysterio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like the idea of Mysterio, but I like if they surprise us in this one and fix it and have a different Mysterio.
Why
I don't think that's going to
From
happen,
a
but I would love
variant
that.
Mysterio.
The problem that I have with this upcoming Spider-Man that I'm worried about is this. For this movie to be any good as everybody wants it to be, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have to be in a significant portion of the movie, and I don't think that they will be. I think that they'll have one or two
third
scenes.
Act,
I
I think
think-
the third act they'll be.
I think
they'll
they're
I
be-
gonna
think
be
it'll
halfway
be they'll
through.
show up. They'll
I
be
think it's
easy
third
to
act.
tell.
I
Oh,
think-
they filmed this in Panama, half a continent away, and
You think so?
Even-
There's like palm trees behind Andrew Garfield. He's like, "Watch out, Tom Holland!" Then it cuts to Tom Holland.
I
in
think it's
fucking
pretty
New York.
obvious that Statue
I-
of Liberty stuff is the end, but everything else from the beginning.
reminds you of X-Men, eh?
But
Like
yeah.
imagine if they threw X-Men.
That's the homage because the what's his face was a writer or producer on X-Men that went to the Statue of Liberty.
Brian,
Nope.
Brian Singer.
Bryan Singer directed it. David Hayter wrote it. Joss Whedon did a rewrite. None of those people have anything to do with this movie.
There is a connection. What's his name?
Kevin Feige was like an executive producer.
That's it then.
Okay. So you think he's like making reference to a movie he executive produced 20
Yes.
years ago? That
Yes,
has
he's
nothing
coming
to
back
do
on because that was his first Marvel project.
Ghostbusters.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not
Rehashed
perfect
or
on
like.
these things.
Yeah. So getting back to Ghostbusters.
Welcome to
Rehashed or like.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And what was your website?
Filmgamer.com.
Right out of the gate, Phil.
I should.
Give us the plot
Are
summary.
you a single word,
Oh,
yay or nay, for Ghostbusters Rehash Your Life?
I'm in the middle.
Okay, so the movie isn't good.
Okay, so I'm an absolute nay. But let's go through the plot synopsis, and I'll pepper in my notes.
Can I start with something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so annoyed at.
Me.
I got free tickets. Let's put it that
How the
way.
fuck did you get free tickets?
Oh, the presentation was bad.
No, not this time. There was people with a big family, probably like 8 people in the family, and one of the kids would not shut up.
Oh,
I don't mind if you have kids at it was an
Yeah,
afternoon show. I get
and
that.
it's a kids' movie.
Essentially, yes, I agree with that. The problem is if they're constantly talking, just
Yeah.
constantly,
At regular volume.
pretty much. Oh, why does this happen?
You know what? I like the one time that I saw.
And
One
the
time I saw a car.
No, the
And the
mother, all she would do the whole time, shh. Every single time, I'm like, do something with your fucking
And
child.
it
you
with weak
wonder why
parenting?
I say the
I
theater
agree.
fucking experience is dying.
What is it with weak parenting all the time?
I went.
I
I
have to.
fucking beat my kids, motherfuckers.
No, I went and I told
That's
them
what you
straight
gotta
up.
do.
The only way you're going to Spider-Man is if you're quiet during this
I don't
movie.
have kids. Here's what you,
The
Phil. Here's what
earmuffs
you need to
work.
do.
They did. Good,
Yeah.
good,
Phil,
good.
here's what you need to do. You need to go by yourself opening night, essentially, or you need to go opening night with the family. That's what you have to do, or else all the yahoos are gonna get annoyed.
I'm hoping to
That's it, you
show
have to
my
go.
son the whole opening night experience with the Thursday thing.
Hmm.
Even though it's not nighttime, I'm hoping there's still going to be a bunch of people there at
I don't think
3:30.
I don't think
Did
my
you get it
boys
for
would,
6
would
p.m.?
give a
I got
fuck.
3:30.
3:30 in the
wouldn't care.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I don't like,
First
by the way,
showing.
about them counting the box office from Thursday, starting at 3 o'clock towards the weekend. That's complete bullshit. But just wanted to let that. So somebody talked throughout the whole movie. This is a reason
Yeah.
why I didn't want to go see it. It reminds me of the time I told that one kid to shut up beside me during Suicide Squad and had to deal with his dad, which
Yeah.
I doubled down on, even though he was about like the size of Rob, except with muscles.
Just look at me.
And he had a shaved head. He was white, and he's like, I'm like, would you mind? And I had to do the annoying thing of like, it's like, excuse me, do you mind telling your kid to be quiet? And he's like, he's 7, and I'm like, yeah, he's 7. Like, and I never get mad, but I summon the movie gods to tell me that.
Those
and
parents are
to
like,
avoid what you had.
if he's young, we can just let him keep talking because it's okay.
Everyone's
he's young.
got
Fuck off.
kids.
It's a movie
Exactly.
theater.
Yeah, but you have to kind of behave or go to the drive-in, which
So-
we need
Yeah,
to
there's
bring
no
back.
word fucking drive. That's and
It
I
died
imagine the
right
people-
before
Yeah.
COVID.
imagine the fucking people that like, or even like the studios or not studios, the theater chains that got rid of drive-in saying, no, this is dead. And then COVID hits, they're like, son of a bitch.
And
You
they
mean
had,
like
they
our
had to
local
make
drive-in?
new ones.
Yep.
They
Imagine
made
the money
some
we
in
could have
Ottawa.
kept. And then it hits like right around summertime. We had a long summer, and they're like, "Yeah, no drive-ins, only fucking theaters. Close them down."
Thank you,
So,
capitalism.
My experience was pretty much ruined by that because I was just,
See, that's the
it's
thing.
just driving me nuts. And
Yeah.
that doesn't happen often.
The theater is dead.
Yeah, theater's dead.
That's the title of our episode.
yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
thank you for coming. So Ghostbusters.
Good thing. Hey, a theater is dying, and you watched a movie about ghosts.
Well, are you okay with us going through this stuff like this?
Yeah, I'm the
Because I would not be
I
if
like-
it was something I'm looking
He's
forward
fine
to.
if
but you're
you'd
not looking
start-
forward to it.
I like Gil Keaton as a screenwriter. I actually didn't mind his remake he wrote and directed. What's it called? Poltergeist, the remake. It was fine. It was fine. Completely unnecessary remake, but like a fine movie to fold laundry to or watch in the background. I liked Monster.
like listen to Sam
I
Rockwell
liked Monster
complain.
House, which is what he's like basically known for. I think he's a good writer. He probably should have been the person directing this, in my opinion. They should have like worked around that somehow. But like, so I think that the writing is probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting of this movie more
for
than
a
the
guy
direction.
that didn't see the movie, you certainly have a lot to say about
No,
it.
it's just my it's my expectations.
I
'cause
will
like to be-
straight up say, straight
He's
out,
only a
the
co-writer.
writing is the worst part of this movie.
more than the direction. Eh?
Yes.
Okay,
The
good.
direction actually
That's-
brings
I'd,
it up.
I'd argue the
happy to be
direction is
wrong.
the best part of the movie.
Wow.
The writing is god awful.
Yeah.
There's none.
Who co-wrote? I
If
wonder
they
who
were to
wrote
I
come
think it was
out,
him and Jason Reitman.
if they were to,
Yeah,
it was
I would
two.
imagine.
If they were to
not
come
Jason
out
Reitman. Is it Jason Reitman?
Yeah, him and Gil Keaton and Jason Reitman.
and say that they improvised every single scene, I would
No.
have been like, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
believe
think it
it.
was
People don't
improvised.
understand how
I think
improvisation
they,
works
I think
in
they
movies.
made a conscious effort to have as little improv as possible because of that shit show that was the 2016 version, which is all improv. I think they made, and that was one thing I kept in mind while I was watching it. There's a conscious decision to not have them improv. There's scenes where they're like, okay, act as a family, and then Reitman was just kind of filming what would happen. The one that comes to mind is where she's cutting his hair in the start while he's eating, and she's just kind of thinking. And,
That was
and
a useless scene that was
totally
not needed,
useless,
yeah.
but it was to show, hey, this is a
Sounds
family,
like something
blah,
a
blah,
director
blah.
should cut out if he were better.
I know, but even the writing within these scenes, there was like nothing. There was nothing to go on. There was no buildup of anything.
All right,
So
I've
give us
got-
the plot
I've
summary.
got 1,000 notes, so I want to get into this shit.
32 years after stopping Vigo, the Ghostbusters have disbanded after a decline in supernatural activities in New York City.
But let's start with how the movie starts.
Well, I'm getting
He's
there.
just
God's
go
sake.
through the plot.
Egon Spangler has relocated to Somerville, Oklahoma, where Gozerian cultist Ivo Shandor's mining operations are located. Egon captures a bestial entity from one of the mines, aiming to lure a more powerful entity to his farm to trap it.
And you effectively have no idea what's going on in the opening. But I have in my notes, Jesus Christ, right out of the gate, fake Harold Ramis. And I knew,
knew
we all
they would
knew,
do that. I
we all knew
knew
they were
that
going to
they-
show fake Harold Ramis.
Somewhat show.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the fact that it was like it was
I
funny
can
because
tell
I
I've
was
been-
just recently watching SCTV, and it was a Towering Inferno episode of SCTV where Andrea Martin needs to play another role, but she's also got to play Edith Prickley. So what they do is they have a man or a very large woman. Her back is constantly to the camera, and they're constantly going, "Prickley's double, come here, we've got to go," and that's the joke. When you see that just to the side and there's a beam right there. All these fucking shots.
I don't know what ask her.
Oh, Wi-Fi.
All these fucking shots of fake Harold Ramis. I was like, oh my God, we're doing this like 30 seconds into this fucking movie.
Yeah, this movie is specifically an homage to Ghostbusters. Just in the whole thing. It hits you
That
on the
doesn't
head
sound
so
like a
many
movie,
times.
though. That sounds like an homage. Like, why are, like, thank you. Ghostbusters was like and I'm just asking, I'll fully admit I haven't seen the movie, but, like, Ghostbusters was like a major studio comment, like, blockbuster movie. Why is it being treated like it's some sort of sacred shaman?
Because it wasn't.
Because
Ghostbusters was a complete fluke.
To the fans, it's huge.
To the fans,
and that's
but
why.
there's
It's
also
fan-
Ghostbusters. Unfortunately, suffers from the same thing as Star Wars and the same thing as
Terminator?
I'd say mostly Star Wars. You have fans like myself of Star Wars and fanatics.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters fanatics
Marvel
are
is like this too.
exactly right. The Ghostbusters fanatics are the ones who brought this to life, and it's terrible. But anything that is ripping off Ghostbusters or trying to pay it homage, which this movie pretends it's doing, is going to suck because you don't have the key thing that made that first movie work is that Bill Murray does not want to be there. Every scene that he's in, he is not. They said he would not follow the script. He could fucking care less. That makes
That's
that
Bill
movie.
Murray on anything.
But that makes specifically that movie. That makes that movie. Dan Aykroyd being 100% committed. Harold Ramis being a little tongue in cheek because he wrote it and he kind of knows what the gags are.
Yeah.
All of that is the fucking triangle that you need to have.
Oh, yeah.
No movie of Ghostbusters since that has had that same thing.
And they didn't have the
can
pressure.
they make that?
And they can't, and that's the problem. Is they can't. They keep on trying. And I watched Red Letter Media's review of this, and they had one thing that I really agreed with. Was something I had in my own notes. This is one of those movies. It's like watching Rise of Skywalker, watching Last Jedi, or watching Star Trek Into Darkness, or Beyond, or Picard, or Star Trek shit show. What's that TV show called? Discovery.
Yeah.
You feel sad and angry as a fan of it, watching it, because you remember how good you felt watching the original.
Yeah.
And you see it trying to do that, and it makes you mad that it can't get to it.
This tried to fix that by doing something different and
Until it
jumping on
didn't.
the Stranger Things bandwagon.
Until it didn't.
That doesn't sound very different, though. That sounds pretty derivative.
But
No, different for Ghostbusters.
Okay, yeah, I see.
So
what you mean.
giving them a different equation.
Okay.
And
The fans.
I will say that, but I'll let you get back in a second. 5 minutes in, I counted 10. I was counting them on my fucking hands. 10 nostalgic references.
it was
so I said, slow
constant.
the fuck down.
Is this like
even the score?
Is this like
Yeah,
the
oh my
Rise of
God.
Skywalker, basically, where they're just cramming it in
Yes.
every second, regardless if it
But
makes sense or
It's
not?
one
Also,
thing you
it was
just
in there,
sat
and
there
it
and
was-
laughed at because
and
it was
and
you're
Oh,
like,
they like
holy
wait
fuck,
for
dude,
you to
calm down.
I will give you a moment that just drove it home. The kids going to the mine, just on top of the mountain, right? The music's playing, some generic whatever, or maybe it was a
Yep, I know what
whatever.
you're talking about.
And then it just goes straight, like they twist it into the Ghostbusters thing, and it's just like, really?
Yep.
It
On a fucking
out of
dime for
place.
no reason. Yep.
It's just
out
like,
of
oh
out
my
of
God.
the majority of this movie could be summed up with out of nowhere. This just happens.
Yeah. When the trap fails, he hides the ghost trap in a secret compartment located beneath his farmhouse living room floor. Egon struggles with another entity and suffers a fatal heart
beginning of the
attack.
movie?
Beginning of the movie.
This is the beginning.
Okay, I
They're
see.
setting up him
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah, I get it.
Callie.
Could they have?
Yeah, go for it.
Could they have just like, dare I say, recast Harold Ramis?
No, but you know what you could do?
No.
Hey, Egon had a heart attack. Left this house to his kids.
Yeah.
Or had like
Could have done that.
I will admit, and I know we're going to get to it, but I cried at the end.
sure.
It's just, I
As
love
someone
Ghostbusters.
with no emotions, I was angry at the end.
As a huge fan of Ghostbusters, I loved the nostalgic, not the general nostalgia, but the Harold Ramis coming back and
This
being
was
Egon and
the
hanging out with his
dictionary
buddies. And
definition of emotionally manipulative.
yes, but I loved it.
Not me. That shit. Emotional manipulation, when it's done right, I don't see it.
Movies
and
are
I feel it.
emotional manipulation.
Not
because that's what
necessarily.
they want.
Not
But they're not
necessarily.
as transparent
Yeah,
as
this one was
movie is.
just exactly too fucking transparent.
yeah.
Literally. But all right, I'm sorry. Continue, Phil. We're going to be here for fucking 8 hours.
It's fine. It's necessary. We have to excise the
How about this?
Ghostbusters
They're
for
at
once
the
and for all.
apartment. They introduce the kids. Who cares?
Okay, so I'm just going to go real quick through my notes, and then you can catch
Give
up.
me more of podcast.
Oh my God, that was
there's the
stupid.
ideology that Paul Rudd says to this family that every day there's an earthquake.
Yeah.
Right? And then when they arrive at the house, they feel an earthquake.
Yeah.
But the whole
But that was
14-hour
before,
drive,
yeah.
when they're getting to the house and then arriving at the house, and then Janine shows up, and then they're talking to Janine, and then they're looking, no earthquake.
Well, you got to. Who knows when it's.
You didn't feel the earthquake at all, ever, when you were
I felt it in the theater.
For a place that's earthquaking once a day, they were on their way there. No, never.
If
never
a
felt it.
self-respecting Paul Rudd, aka Mr. Gruberson, says there's an earthquake every day in the screenplay, they better adhere to those rules.
They should.
But Finn, I called him Finn Blowjob because I know it was like Wolf Job or Wolfman.
Oh,
so I
okay,
call him
yeah,
Blowjob.
I
He was not
is
needed.
terrible.
Not needed at all.
He's literally exists to go, Phoebe, what do we do next? Oh man, how are we going to
And-
get out of this?
and to
That's
fix
all
the car.
he exists for. To fix a
That's
car
it.
that
To drive
they
it.
don't set up that he has any interest in. If it was like, Mom, I want to get my license. Mom, I want to get my license. Then he goes and fixes the car. I understand why he's fixing the car. There is absolutely no
Nothing.
reason for him to fix the fucking car.
But
out of
all
boredom.
kids his age can fix cars.
Of course, right?
I
My
took
favorite,
auto
though,
shop.
is he's trying to start the car and fucking Ghost Egon goes up and says, I'll touch
I'll
the
fix it,
the
yeah.
battery for you. I'm like, cars run on gas and oil? Where the fuck is
Well,
that?
if the battery's not connected properly, it's not going to
oh
start.
my God. But all right.
But he didn't know how to
I-
connect the battery, but he could fix the other parts of the car.
Yeah, the battery's not in the port cut of a car. You don't see it when you open the hood. But also, my favorite too is where does Janine come from? So they drive up and they're talking. They're in the house for about 2 minutes, and then Janine comes walking the door. Hi, I'm Janine.
She's the caretaker.
But where did she come from? They would have seen her.
I want to think that she was living there and she had to get the fuck out.
She was like,
And
"Fuck,
there-
someone's breaking in."
It seems like so. Does it seem to you like it's a very like patchy movie where it's like, well, somebody stopped and started this movie? Like, does it feel at least like it pursues one creative plot or idea, or does it feel like a mishmash of different screenplays?
A mishmash
No.
of. For me, it feels like okay. We have Zool Dogs. We have Marshmallow Men. We have the 3 original
All the
Ghostbusters. We have Janine.
callbacks, nothing new.
I don't care how,
Okay,
but
sorry.
put them
there's
in
some
somewhere.
new. But
And so we're like,
Are
where
they
the fuck are we going to put Janine? Put her in the start.
you have to put
Which one's
you have to put her
Janine?
somewhere.
She was the receptionist.
yeah.
Oh, Annie Potts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, I hate all of these people.
Are they playing like? But they're
Yeah, they're
play-
themselves. They're still the original
Their
characters.
character.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
not
okay.
like 2016 where they're playing something else with just dumb.
Both the kids are completely unlikable. This little girl, Phoebe.
No.
Phoebe's
no.
unlikable. Finn
lot of
Blowjob
people-
is awful.
Phoebe did a
Phoebe
great
Being a bit
job.
hard
grows
on an
you.
18-year-old
Phoebe
kid.
does grow on you, but right
It
from the
takes
gate,
time, yeah.
she's unlikable. The mother is an awful person.
Oh yeah.
Why are all these characters so unlikable?
I think
Don't know.
No, I think it's because Jason Reitman. I think that's where his sweet spot is, in finding characters that are a little flawed and getting you to like them.
But it didn't work.
Didn't work in this at
Most of
all.
them.
Oh
I
my
think 'cause you-
lord!
If you think back to his characters, they're either like unlikable on purpose, too
Yep.
sardonic to tell the difference,
Yep.
or played by a super charismatic actor.
And
Neither of those were present here.
yeah, none of those are present.
Paul Rudd should have stood out, and he was just a background actor.
Is there anybody who does the best acting job in this
Phoebe.
movie? Because I heard McKenna
Who'd you
Grace.
say?
Phoebe?
McKenna
You think
Grace.
so? No, I think Paul Rudd. For me, Paul Rudd
Really?
feels like he is trying.
No.
Phoebe
but
feels
does
like
he
she is.
fit- as long as they fit into the movie, because a lot of times
No.
it's like I'm
Yeah,
trying to think
if
of
you look at it in that capacity, yeah, Phoebe really stands out.
because she like it seems like the movie, and again I haven't seen it, but it's like based on what I've seen, it's like the most of the movie or what people talk about it seems focused on this character.
Yep.
That is probably the most realized thing out of
Who
the
doesn't
entire
she's
fit
thing.
the most?
She's a genius, super genius, always been
Oh,
a
yeah,
genius.
in the classic way.
Except that she doesn't know what her last name is or anything having to do with the history on her father's side of the family.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, weird, eh?
So this movie
kinda
sounds
care.
terrible. Can we like? Are we through the plot?
I
yet? Can
also
you tell
think
me
it's
all the
fine.
good
He's going
stuff?
through it.
So
himself.
let's go to the part where they're in summer school for some reason. They don't set that
Okay,
up.
that kind of makes sense. A kid like her, she wants to do school instead of play.
But they
I get
don't
that because she's
set
very brainy.
that
Yeah.
up.
So
Why didn't they
totally
send
agree.
that, right?
Totally agree. It just
So-
like goes right into it.
So he comes in and he goes, "Hi, I don't want to be here. You'd want to be here." They have not mentioned that it is summer school.
Nope.
You're just
showed-
supposed to
they
know
showed
it's summer school.
SUM.
Yep.
That's
so you're
all they
supposed to know.
showed.
So he says, "Hey, we're gonna watch a movie about a killer dog." So I'm gonna get Cujo, whatever. But he starts it when Cujo goes running into the Batcave, which is about 20 minutes into the movie. Why the fuck would you not start the
doesn't
movie at
care.
the start of the movie?
The point is, he doesn't care. He's giving the. It's like that teacher in grade 3 that had us watch Arachnophobia for some stupid fucking reason. All the kids got nightmares. The parents complained. That teacher got in shit.
Arachnophobia.
should've.
That's fantastic.
I watched that actually for the first time. It's okay.
The fact that this movie,
bad.
now look, man, I get that there are some stereotypes that you shouldn't do anymore, or if you're going to do them, it
STEM
has to
for
be
little girls for one thing.
it has to be
Podcast.
so on the nose, like so over the top that you're like, okay, that's a caricature. A fucking little Asian kid named Podcast
Well-
that's constantly covered in some sort of electronics, like.
Is that like a cliche?
They did.
Yes, it's
It-
Long
it-
Duck Dong from fucking
Okay.
Pretty in Pink.
It
But,
is.
but what does that have to do with? Oh yeah, 'cause
Also-
like is it? But is he Japanese or?
I believe he looks maybe Filipino.
Goonies
kind of.
had it
Yeah,
too.
had Data, but Data was so over the top.
Yes.
That you were like,
But
okay,
that- but
I
that's the
get it.
point.
That's a
Yeah.
joke. Podcast was not like that.
I don't think they were hitting home that he's Asian at all. I don't think they were
Yeah.
caring.
Why make him an Asian kid then?
Why not?
Because you have to have different.
There was some people like myself that were gonna look at it going, you know what? Me personally, I find this kind of fucking racist.
Why'd you make the girlfriend a black girl? Because
I didn't
you
notice
gotta have
that.
this now.
I just saw a podcast. One fucking podcast. That is clearly a name
That
he
was
gave
so
himself,
dumb.
and he wants everyone to call him
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend in school who's like that. He coined his own nickname.
Call me
Don't do that.
Podcast. Like me, I'm Bill, and that's just the name I want to be known as from now on. But I hated Podcast. Podcast was awful. He was the comedy relief. And everybody's comedy relief effectively in this movie.
yeah,
but
yeah.
he was comedy relief, but he was one of those comedy reliefs that's never funny. You're like, dude,
That's like
just
every
get past
comedy
this
relief
guy.
in any like studio movie of any like in the last 5 years. It's like people forgot to do comedy.
That's what I have. The comedy is just so bad. There was none of it that was funny,
it was
man.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, none of it was funny. The one part that I pointed out I thought was good with the chess game that she has with Ghost
like
Egon.
that.
That was pretty cool. I like that scene.
So Ghost Egon is haunting her throughout the movie,
Yep.
but in a nice way,
I'm sure.
and showing her basically setting up.
well, technically,
how
he's trapped in the house, right? Egon's trapped. Not he's haunting the house. He's haunting.
I
the
think
house.
I don't think it's ever said that he's trapped.
Trapped.
there.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant is he's haunting the house
He's
because
haunting,
his family's
but
there.
I think just because the family's there is like
Yep.
I think the whole thing was a point to him going, something's coming. I'm getting you ready. So fix the proton packs. Fix the what else? Did he
the
fix? She fixed.
trap, the
Yep.
car that runs out, the little RC car.
Yep.
Which brings me to the point of why is Finn Blowjob in this movie? He has. If you had gotten
Star
podcast,
power.
if you had gotten podcast to fix the
Doesn't have
car,
star power really.
that
Stranger
could have
Things was
worked.
huge.
It helps evoke tone that they are going for. Like,
Tone is one thing this movie cannot figure out. It doesn't know whether
it's just Ghostbusters nostalgia.
that's
the
the tone was
tone.
Ghostbusters.
I mean, you can see with Jason Reitman's last 3
So,
or 4 films. He
How
always
did
has
they?
films
How
with tone.
does specifically Phoebe? Because she's supposed to be the smart one. How does she not know that her grandfather was a Ghostbuster? Wouldn't the fact that they have the same last
Did the
name
mother
be a
know?
dead giveaway?
Yeah.
The mother does. She wants to keep them away from it. Wouldn't someone have brought it up? With how big the Ghostbusters were in New York, wouldn't someone have brought it up to her? She's a smart kid.
Could be
she
one of
would
those
figure this
kid
out.
things where it's like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. Like it was old stuff that you guys
But
are
she's
adults.
so
Bah.
smart. She's so smart. I figure like this is just
Also,
kind of information.
1980s is like pretty recent history. It's
No,
like
but-
I don't know anything about my grandfather, who's a
But
World
if
War
your
One
fucking
veteran.
but if your fucking
But-
grandfather was a guy that fought ghosts in New York,
You fought not
out
no,
of
Germans.
four people, you'd probably know.
in recent
But
history.
all
yeah.
throughout these movies, it's been like people are like, this happened, but we don't want to talk about it. So I feel like that's pretty much the ongoing
But was
thing.
it traumatic?
I don't buy that at all.
Not that it was traumatic. It's just that I think most people wouldn't believe it. Like the Statue of Liberty is walking in. That was never broached, which
Nope.
was weird.
They try to totally avoid that second
yeah,
movie, man.
but it's like even the
I
Stay Puft
hate
Marshmallow
that. If
Man.
you're gonna make a sequel, you got to
the
make
only part of it
everything.
that they do is Ray's got his bookstore, which is from the second movie.
If the Stay Puft Marshmallow walked down New York,
Right?
people would be talking
That's
about
goddamn
it. But
right.
in this universe, they're like, maybe they don't believe it, or they just like they don't.
But
talk
then they
about
have to
it.
look it up. They have to look up the commercial on YouTube. So you know that the Ghostbusters did exist.
Everything's on YouTube.
But you're telling me that in 30 years, people have forgotten a 100-foot marshmallow man walking around New York.
It seems like the central point the movie is
World
trying to
War
make about
II
nostalgia.
ended in 1945, and we still are
How much
talking
you want
about
to
World
bet
War
if
II.
something happened like that, the government would cover it up?
It'd be
It'd be
impossible to
hard
cover up in these
100-foot
days.
marshmallow man.
I'm just saying they'd be like, it was a blimp. It was a parade blimp that went out of control.
So another question.
Exactly what happened
I
in
don't think they would.
2016.
The reason that Egon's daughter has to move to the farmhouse is because she's out of money. She has no money.
Yeah,
Right.
She's a dirtbag.
Why, if she's in such need of money, why is she not going through the house looking for stuff to sell? Why is she not selling the land it's on?
Because they're movie poor.
Yeah.
Which means
But
that
you're
they're-
like,
They don't think of these things.
that would give the mother something to do.
But that would give a out. Where else in the movie world you don't want an out? She's poor.
It was-
Oh,
and
Jason.
every
Part of the
time,
plot.
every time it
That
goes
doesn't
there,
exist.
and there's one part where Paul Rudd walks in, he's like, "Oh, so how are you? Oh, just sitting here in the doldrums of everyday inanity and suffering the blackness of." I'm like, then fucking get a job, you worthless bitch.
That's another
Go
thing.
and do
Her son
something.
gets a job. She does nothing.
Can you guys think of a movie that Jason Reitman did that was not written by Diablo Cody that contained a female character who wasn't like a suck ass?
Is that not Juno?
Juno is written by Diablo Cody. Young Adult is written by Diablo Cody. There's a third one I can't think of that Diablo Cody wrote as well with Jason. Oh yeah, Tully.
Right.
And those are like the three movies I watched.
I did not like
Did
Tully
you watch
at all.
Jason Reitman's last movie? It was really terrible. It was like the one with Gary Hart, the campaign one. I watched
saw
it.
Juno and really enjoyed Juno. Mostly
Yeah,
because
that
of
was
J.K.
written by
Simmons.
Diablo Cody.
Yeah, mostly because of J.K. Simmons, but
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But all right.
Okay, go on.
Phoebe working with Egon's ghost to fix a proton pack and look around the shed. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I like that part. Yeah, I was away for half that part complaining.
Okay. Then
I
you
was
missed one
mad.
of the only good
Oh, you
parts in the
complained
movie.
in the middle of the movie.
Podcasts,
I hate
binoculars
Did you complain to the
also
manager?
have
Yeah.
a Polaroid camera in them that can take pictures. Am I just being ultra sensitive, or is this a really bad Asian stereotype?
No,
What?
I think it's fine.
He has binoculars that can take pictures. So
That's
he's the
pretty
Asian
cool.
guy
What
with
are
a
you talking
fucking.
about?
But it's like here's what's racist.
It's a
You're
Jurassic
saying-
Park headset with
No, here-
with
Here-
Because
Polaroid.
podcast is always going to
Okay.
need binoculars for no reason that fucking have a
I'm not
have
gonna
a,
be-
have
have
a,
to do
have a
with podcasting.
Polaroid camera. In
I'm
them.
not going to be insulting here. I don't mean to be, but it's like
Garbage.
I don't know what.
It's garbage.
No, it's like I don't know how to say this sensitively, and I don't want to be like
Racist.
Yeah, don't be racist.
No, it's just like you. It's like Rob, you saying like
Don't do
Asian,
hand movements.
and I'm like, is he Korean? Is he Japanese? Is
I
he
think
Chinese?
he's-
And you're like, he's everything, which makes sense in the way that Hollywood is already
Yeah, it
like.
wasn't
zoomed.
He's very homogenized. He's very Asian homogenized.
Yeah,
I
but
think he's
I just
Filipino.
don't see enough there.
I don't see Chinese or Japanese. I see kind of Filipino.
One would say it doesn't matter.
I would
Yeah,
s-
sure
I-
it doesn't.
Yeah, I think because you can't nail down what specifically about it is that it.
Finn
isn't-
Blowjob gets the car running with Egon's help, and the car, has been sitting there for 30 years. It's got gas, it's got oil, all the things that cars don't
Of
need.
course.
We've established that there are fucking roads in this town. So Finn Blowjob
He's a
opens
kid.
the door,
He's a kid.
opens the door,
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
and then goes
go.
and runs over all the field that his mother might be,
Could
able,
be
to
able
sell to someone
the
else.
wheat field. Yeah.
Will probably destroy the car with whatever he's going to run over.
But that's
no.
but that's on
the
the
jump.
poster. They have to have
It's-
that scene. I can
it's-
picture Sony
that
executives
whole
saying
scene.
that.
I'm like, this is so stupid.
They have to show off the Ecto 1.
Then show it off on a road. Why is he
They
driving
do.
those a field?
They do.
because
That's
it's
next.
interesting. Because
Also, I
it's
love
That's what
exciting
happens
to the
next.
audience.
How Ecto 1 has been sitting in this place with, oil's no problem, didn't have to change it. Full
Sure.
fucking tank of
They
gasoline.
fixed it.
When did he fix the oil?
He fixed
He
it
fixed
as a ghost.
the
It's a
whole-
one-size-fits-all.
I'm sorry. He was fixing all of it.
It's
And
lazy
Egon was there.
screenwriting short.
How does this car have gas? How does the police scanner work? There's a police scanner that works in
Does
it.
gas just go away out of the tank?
Why
is it on? Why
doesn't
have they
Podcast
named
use
the
police
ghost?
scanner? He probably has one.
Why does Finn Blowjob constantly ask questions about what should we do? Where should we go? What are we
He's
doing?
useless.
He's
That's why he
plot
doesn't have a
exposition.
brain.
Why is Podcast always wearing these binoculars?
even his job,
That's
which
his thing.
is again
They need to
useless,
sell
just a
action
quick
figures.
plot
also,
point.
what is his job though?
He's just a gopher in a
He's
food
gopher.
place.
Yep. Gopher at food place. That literally is the description of his job because he does a little bit of everything. He
But you do.
No, I get that, but he's not a server or a dishwasher or a cook. He's just an anything.
But the key thing here is none of that matters.
Good
It's
point.
just a quick plot point to get his girlfriend, which again doesn't pay off too well at the end. So who cares?
Why is Podcast always wearing these binoculars? Does he not have the same vision that everybody else in the town
Does he
does?
use them though?
It was
All the time. He's constantly got them on.
it was
then
a
there
cool
you go.
prop back in the 80s for after the kids got into the Ghostbusters movie with the toys and all that.
Yeah,
So
they were the ones that Ray
They want to
wore.
do that again. They want to sell that prop.
I get that, but
It's like
has Podcast gone through all of Ray's stuff in the basement yet? Because Ray had those binoculars. He wore them in the first Ghostbusters movie, but it didn't have the fucking stupid camera on them. But remember when he's looking at Slimer when
got
they go to the
them when he was
it's
in
hotel?
the
not
house.
science fiction if there aren't goggles.
He got them in the house, I think,
Okay.
or in the garage or something like that. Where
Next.
So they decide to go after. This is another thing. So when they find the green blob ghost, which was John Belushi in the first Ghostbusters movie, nobody ever gives it a
Did they
name.
dig up his corpse too?
Slimer,
No, thankfully they never
Slimer.
do. No one ever gave him a name,
no Slimer in this movie
which
at
is
all.
which is good. That was good.
No, I disagree.
But
you
If
gotta
you're
have
gonna
like
do
a
that
little bit.
pandering,
But
Rob,
no,
shouldn't
we
you
can't.
go all
That's
the way
exactly
with
it. We can't be that pandering.
I was
we
hoping-
can show
Why
the
not?
original 4, which is
I was
terrible.
so hoping the stinger would be Slimer escaping
Escaping what?
the
They're saving it for the sequel.
The trap
Rob.
in the place that was they said
New
was a
York, yeah.
Starbucks, but then they decide isn't a Starbucks.
yeah. Well, I think that was just like, oh, it's a Starbucks now, but it's not.
Yeah,
Like,
because Ray is a super comical person. We've seen him joke through all the other movies. But why is it that
maybe it was a Starbucks and he bought it back.
then right, that's right. Maybe Ernie Hudson bought it back and changed it back into what it was before because the Ghostbusters nobody remembers them in 38 years.
But it's nostalgia for him.
They let out this trap that goes and catches. Oh, sorry, my whole point. They decide, oh my God, there's a ghost. It's chewing on bars.
Muncher.
Let's call it Muncher. Why would you name the ghost? This is
Why not?
why.
Yeah, why
If
not?
you were going after ghosts, you'd want to name them.
Yeah.
You know what I'd do?
For-
I'd be fucking Michael J. Pollard in Lost World, Jurassic
You
Park Lost
gotta
World.
have a name
Go
for
get
the Pokédex,
The
and
Dilophosaurus
you gotta be
and
fun-
whatever. Fucking
Pikachu.
Elvis. Go get the
Ghostbusters.
Elvis.
Why do we name
Yeah.
Pikachu?
Because he's a fucking Pikachu.
Well, yeah.
Because
But
he's
if you were,
This is a muncher.
if you were
Because he's
Ash
an important
fucking,
character.
what's his name?
Ketchum.
Ash Ketchum, and you're like, oh look, there's a Pokemon. I won't catch it first. Let me think of a name.
But they've
What
already
the-
been cataloged by
what should
that
I
point because
call
they're a
it?
species.
Not all of them.
Yeah, I don't
The point
know.
of it was
I'm
to
gonna-
catalog them. Like
It
the-
kind
No, I'm
of-
talking about
original.
Pokemon.
I mean, it's peeking at me.
Yeah, but there's 160.
So maybe
There's
if
way
it's
more
peeking
now.
at me.
I know there's more, but I'm
Oh, it just
originally, yeah,
sneezed.
there was 150.
I got an
or something,
idea. It's
and
peeking at
The
me.
whole
It
point of
just
the game
sneezed.
was to catch them.
I'll
to
call it peek
catalog them.
a chew. And then when you watch this,
we both like
movie-
checked out of what
When you
Rob
watch
was
this
saying
movie-
Yeah, I
for
was
like
like, what?
30 full seconds at our own side
I'm
conversation.
gonna edit this and
You'll
go.
be able to hear all
you're
of me
still
talking in
talking.
the background.
You're like Paul
But they for
McCartney,
no
and we're
reason
like
they for no
Ringo
reason
and
call him
George.
Muncher, which was fucking stupid.
I like Muncher.
And then so they catch Muncher, I guess I can't remember. They almost fly off a bridge, so they have to like veer the car over so they don't go off the bridge.
yeah, the
Where
end
did
of
the
that
trap
scene.
go? The trap would have gone off the fucking side beside the bridge, but no, it just comes
No,
to
when
a
the
stop.
car came to the stop, the trap did.
They shot the trap out. The trap would have kept on going forward.
No, it showed that it moved.
Well, that's fucking dumb.
It showed. Yeah, it came to the stop just like the car.
So then they decide, hey, all these 12-year-old kids, let's throw them in jail because that's something that happens.
It actually
they
is
are
something
locked-
that happens.
if they
in
are
Did they
some
go to
locked
places.
up-
juvenile hall?
No,
Why
they
would
went
the
like,
police-
They have a small little jail there.
Why would the police
So
not
they just throw them
immediately
in there for now.
call her mother?
What?
The police capture her brother, and Podcast, throw them in a jail cell, Do not call her mother.
You don't think this could be
Yeah.
a possible situation? Like,
No,
in
because
that-
they're
I mean,
all
if they-
white and it's a
yeah, I
black
was- I
sheriff.
was actually
Because they're
think-
all white kids. No, it's not possible. And I hate that that's true, but that's a fucking reality.
I'm just saying, a small town,
Also,
they do it their own way.
in
What's the
hindsight,
population
too-
of this town?
Oh, I would guess a couple hundred.
Yeah. Also, in hindsight,
wasn't much.
the
It's a
mother's
farm
not
town.
going
Why
to
is there
care
so
anyway.
much
So the
ghostly
cop probably
activity?
did fucking call the mother, and she's like, "What? I'm drinking.
think
Fuck
Rob-
off," and just hung
Rob, I
up
have
the phone.
a question though. Why is there so much ghostly activity in
Oh, that gets-
Oklahoma?
that gets
if the
explained.
if the whole reason for like it taking place in New York, the first one was because it was a hotbed for ghostly activity. Why are we
gets
out
it-
in Oklahoma?
that actually does get explained stupidly, but it does get explained.
Oh, that's good.
All right, so she decides, little fucking Phoebe decides, well, I'm in jail. Oh, I might get arrested. I could call my mother
Yeah,
to
this
come
was
get
so
me.
far-fetched.
You know who I'll call? Ray
Ghostbusters.
Stans.
No, Ghostbusters.
That's right. Sorry, Ray's Occult Bookstore, technically, is who she
Because
calls.
that's where the number goes to now.
So she calls Ray's Occult Bookstore.
She calls the number from the YouTube
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Ray's there by himself. Now, here's how this conversation goes. Hello? Is this Ray Stans? We're closed. No, don't hang up. My grandfather was Egon Spengler.
I hated him. Like, what
Well,
the
tell him I
fuck?
hope he burns in hell.
Yeah, pretty
He's
much.
dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
This is so unlike Ray.
Wait.
But my favorite is, so here's how this is legitimately how the conversation goes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear he's dead. Everything was going good, and then they decided that, hey, we didn't really do the Ghostbusters anymore, and we cost everybody a whole bunch of money, and then they took the place, and they shut it all down, and Egon decided that, blah, 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 blah. He's telling a 12-year-old girl that he has no idea who this person is over the phone.
Yeah,
Until the end of the phone call, yeah.
And I'm like, if
I
Phil
understand
had
one
a
or
heart
two.
attack,
He's venting.
and Alexander calls
I'm
me up
devil's advocate
and says,
here.
Rob. And I'm like, who's this? It's Alexander. Phil's my dad. Oh, my God. What's the matter? My dad's had a heart attack. I met your dad on Reddit. And then your dad and I started talking on Reddit. And then we decided, hey, why don't we do a podcast? Like, who does that? When a
Podcast,
little
maybe.
kid calls you,
Podcast,
you
maybe,
don't,
yeah.
you don't tell them all the problems you've had over the
In the
past 50
42nd
years.
episode.
Why didn't they call podcasts parents? Does he have any?
No,
I
he just,
could
he
not-
Just, he just
he's
goes,
down as a
goes
podcast.
He's one
around
of those
from,
people
from
that's
house to
there.
house.
I just, that part with Ray, I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? So I was like,
No, that
but
didn't
he's
work.
talking about Venkman. So he's talking about Venkman went off and went back into studies. He went back into the academia because a 12-year-old's going to know what academia means. And Winston
One who
Zedmore,
was
he
into
went and
STEM,
made a whole ton of money. Winston Zedmore's not in the fucking commercial. She's not going to have a clue who Winston Zedmore is.
I took that as him venting.
To a 12-year-old girl
to
that's
anyone,
in prison.
To
Yeah,
anyone
but-
who would listen. He's old.
But if he's old, like I had trouble. Like I wrote down my arguments for the upcoming Wheel of Time, and I wrote it down
'cause I don't
so
have a
that I
lot.
would remember. And him, I guess if you lived it, you understand. But there's always that scene in movies where it's like they cross the line in terms of the amount of exposition you give, where it goes on and it gives you some time to think, and
Cross
it's
the
like,
stream.
should they be
I was
saying
gonna say
this?
that. 45 minutes, Philip.
And, yeah.
So, okay. Then
I
we
saw
decided-
you had a lot more nitpicks
The
on there. I
whole
wanted to
Hey,
movie-
get
Will,
through.
thank you for the drink. It's tasty.
The whole
Yeah.
movie stops, and they're like, "Hey, let's go to Walmart." So then Paul Rudd is walking around Walmart, going, "Oh, God, ice cream!
It's just blatant
Oh,
Walmart.
Holy moly!" And he goes to a screen that's all Dairy Queen ice cream or Baskin Robbins ice cream.
Yeah.
Ice cream.
Like cooler stuff.
Yeah, ice cream.
I need
Marshmallows.
marshmallow. No, he just goes through the baking aisle for some reason. Probably,
It's
probably
so-
wanted chocolate syrup.
It's so blatant. You're like, oh my God. Can you imagine? Here's Paul Rudd. Dude, you were Ant-Man, and you're a pretty good comedian. You're a pretty funny comedian. And they're like, dude, we need you to sell.
We
this
need
scene."
you to suck.
So he's like, dude, Baskin Robbins, awesome, love it. I'm thinking about those
For
fucking
somebody who got
couple
fired
of
from
boats.
Baskin Robbins.
I'm thinking about those couple boats I'm gonna buy
I
with this
worked there
money.
slightly.
Terrible. But then, okay, you tell me, because I knew that you would like this scene. What is the purpose of the Stay Puft Marshmallow things?
Sell them.
reference.
To sell
But-
the toys.
Where did they? Is it because it's Stay Puft on the package?
Yeah. Well, the original thing was Stay Puft Marshmallows. That's where
Right.
they got the idea for the. Okay, yeah.
And Ray, great way of doing it. Ray tries to think of the nicest thing he can. He
Yeah.
claims makes such perfect sense in that original movie.
In that original movie, it was very like you had to go back to the movie and look for those little, because there was was there a poster or a billboard?
No, she got marshmallows when it starts cooking.
That too, but I think there was a billboard somewhere.
There might have been
something. In this, just throw it.
They
in your face.
just show the fuck up.
Yeah. They don't appear from the billboard. They're there.
Then there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of them, and they climb into all these wonderful Walmart products like a blender, and then they're fucking using propane torches on themselves.
A different kids movie.
Is it funny?
It was fun. My wife was laughing. My son enjoyed it.
And that's what I meant. Little kids would probably like this part. But to me, I was watching. I'm like, this is dumb. But then it's just over. It just ends. There's
like
never
the
any.
movie?
No. There's the Marshmallow Man.
The terror dog comes after him.
Yep.
Where did that one come from?
He just shows up. Zuldog just shows up.
Because ghosts are starting to. It's just like the original movie where ghosts just start to
technically
appear.
The thing that the thing that Egon set up to keep Ivo Shandor in got broke. It got broke, and all the ghosts start escaping. So, okay.
Didn't Taxi Driver come back?
No, a minor. A minor was there.
One.
Yeah, Taxi Driver.
Hey.
No, he's a
zombie
minor.
ghoul. Oh,
he's
a
a
minor.
minor.
You're right.
Why did the earthquakes that were happening on a daily basis stop? And when did they stop?
How did they stop?
It doesn't matter to them because
What do
they
you mean
were
it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter to them.
That's the way to describe
synopsis.
the remainder of the movie. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I have such a bad feeling. No, this is what I wrote when I'm about the Ivor Shandor thing is just broken. I have a really bad feeling that this movie's going to end with Stan, Zedmore, and Venkman coming back and saving the day with their 30-year-old proton packs.
They don't. Yes, they do.
By saying that Ivo
that was
Shandor,
expected, though.
So this I like. So here's the movie trying to be smart. By saying that Ivor Shandor put up the years, remember you see the years across the thing when terrible things happen?
I like that.
So did I, but they put up the year
Nicolas Cage
1945. And everyone goes, oh, we all know what happened in 1945.
Yeah, the war ended.
Well, the war ended in 1946.
Maybe there's a reason for the war ending, and no one talks about it because it was covered up by the government.
In 1939. So
yeah, but why is it terrible that the World War II ended?
How many people are going to know about this incident? That's my point.
But
people
the bigger thing is what happened in 45? Because they all go, we all know what happened in 1945.
But that's the joke.
What?
Just go over it and then just be done.
Okay, yeah, just go.
It's just like
the movie has nothing going on underneath.
There is do you remember what the extra year was? I can't remember what it was.
What's the significance of the years? Are they just all written on
terrible things? I think it's like 30
when
years
these events happen.
Yeah, like 38, 40 years apart, exactly. Yeah.
But you know what wasn't in there? Statue of Liberty.
Well, that wasn't Ivo Shandor.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
I don't know.
That makes sense.
This is what I hate. If you make a sequel to something, you got to make a sequel to everything.
Phoebe or Finn Blowjob change their clothes throughout the entire movie.
I feel uncomfortable when you say Phoebe and Blowjob in the same thing when she's underage. It's just like...
How do you know she's under... Oh, yeah, she's 12. All right.
She's
maybe now that the movie's over, we got movies.
But I don't think they ever changed their clothes in the entire movie.
That's like a common movie nitpick. I mean, I'll give them a pass on that.
Also, the thing that's firing down into the pool where all the ghosts come out of, doesn't it kind of look like all those streams are combining down in the bottom? Aren't you not supposed to cross the streams?
I mean, they cross the streams in like the first movie when they did.
But they cross the streams when they have to destroy Gozer.
That's a huge present coming up.
I mean, if you ask me, though, the entire rule set for Ghostbusters is just complete bullshit. Anyways,
Gozer is coming out of there as well. So,
okay, I'll give you that one. So. We've established that from Ray having his little tirade that Egon took off all on his own. And then it gets explained to us that Egon took off all on his own, sacrificing his attachment to his family and friends to go and keep this trap constantly running on Ivo Shandor. Wouldn't the Ghostbusters have been the best people to have with you when you went and set up that trap? Especially Ray Stantz, who was the one that went and found all that information out about Vigo in the second movie. It was Egon who learned about Ivo Shandor, but it was Ray that discovered that Ray and Egon that discovered that the building was like a lightning bolt for Ghost, for Ivo Shandor trying to call Ghost. Why would he not bring Ray? Also, why does he need to fucking alienate his family? It makes absolutely no sense.
It doesn't make sense for his character in the first Ghostbusters. Like, just the character alone.
To
Is
have
this a
kid,
movie
yeah.
that would have been weirdly like? What if they had taken the same tactic of like they don't unacknowledge Ghostbusters, but it's like they do kind of like a serialized sequel where you don't have the baggage of the movies that came before. It's understood that Ghostbusters existed, but like more of like a soft reboot rather than like
it wasn't
strenuously
a soft reboot.
Instead
It
of
tried to.
They're
strenuously adhering to.
They're hinting at New York again.
Yeah, they tried
What do
to
you mean
have
again?
that soft
Not hinting,
reboot.
full on telling you.
They tried to
wanna do
have.
New York again.
It felt like they wanted to do a soft reboot, but with who? Because they don't spend any time on who Phoebe or Podcast or Finn Blowjob
I don't
are.
think they'd bring them for it. I think they
Did
do
you
a
guys
new cast.
know?
You think it'll just be the original fucking
you know what?
cast?
You know what stopped Ghostbusters 3 from being made like 10 years ago?
Bill Murray.
Why it's that like annoys me so much because the guys who wrote the screenplay, like, did you guys see the movie Good Boys at all?
No.
Okay. Did you like Zombie? No, did they write? No, they didn't write Zombieland. But Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky, they're writers on The Office. They're funny guys, but Bill Murray didn't think that they were funny enough.
Bill Murray's problem is he's an asshole, and too many people think Bill Murray's a great guy. He's an asshole.
Essentially,
He can be
Ghostbusters
funny.
3
Hey, Dexter.
He can be funny, but he is an asshole of a person. And I hate so many people saying, man, Bill Murray, like the Child.
Yeah.
And I think I brought this up before. The Child, he's so great. He's such a great guy. He's very charitable, and that's great. But as a person, he's a dick. Like Quentin Tarantino.
I think it's like he's making up for the dick parts, you know?
He's trying to,
Yeah.
but
I'm not so bad.
Are we
but
through the plot yet?
no.
No.
So Egon had. So we've all seen the Simpsons, that episode where Homer has to work 2 jobs. He has Burns gives him that fucking plaque. He says, to give you the plague. And he goes, it's a plaque, sir. It's a plaque. And it says, you'll be here forever. Don't forget, you're going to be here forever.
Yeah.
And so he covers it in pictures of Maggie and changes the words to say, do it for her. So Egon effectively has a Maggie Simpson wall up on his wall of his irritating fucking daughter. So this makes his abandonment of her. She sees the wall. She's like, aw, I guess it's okay. My dad abandoned me, and gave me all these
Yeah,
daddy
it's
issues.
not.
Like, yeah,
Does the dad
that's
have
not
a
how it works.
role on screen in the movie?
No, the dad. The mother doesn't exist.
They make a small mention of him just not being okay. He was okay with Finn, but he was not okay with.
He couldn't figure out how to deal with her because she was
with
too smart.
Phoebe, yeah.
How many goddamn times does Finn Blowjob say, Phoebe, what's going on?
His name's Trevor.
He says it.
I
about-
looked it up.
I want to literally say, I think he says it at least 15 times. Without joking, without being sarcastic. He says, what's going on? At least 15 times.
He's the fix. If you don't have something that connects one dot to the other, we'll put Finn in there and we'll just be like, what's going on? Oh, I got to explain it now.
So, all the people who are going to see this movie, Sony thinks you're all dumb, stupid cows that are just shoveling popcorn into
For
your
marketing,
face,
yeah.
and all you want to see are Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But you're not going to know that they're Ghostbusters unless they're wearing the Ghostbuster suits, because obviously, right? So
Well, you
Egon
gotta-
has
yeah.
4 suits in his closet. Convenient, because there's Finn Blowjob,
He took all the stuff.
Trevor.
and there's Finn Blowjob, there's Phoebe, there's Podcast, and Black Girl. Isn't it convenient that Finn Blowjob has got to be about 6 feet? Phoebe, I want to say, is maybe 5'5". Podcast
Is he
is
really
about-
that tall? Is
He's
Finn
a tall.
Wolfhard
I think
really
he's
that
tall.
tall?
Not that tall.
Okay, what, 5 foot?
She's like
Podcast
4'9",
is like Warwick
maybe.
Davis. He's like 3'9", and then Black
just a
Girl's
little
maybe
girl.
5'5". All of their suits perfectly fit them. When Harold Ramis, I want to peg it at probably about 6'2", and they all
Yeah.
fit them all perfectly.
He had a lot of time
Not
as a
to
ghost
mention,
to sew.
Podcast writes his fucking name on his lapel. I was like, fuck this movie. This is so insulting, man. Why does Podcast constantly keep on putting on Ghostbusters hardware? First, it was the binoculars.
sell them.
Then it's the hat that Louis Tully wore. Remember this
sell
hat?
everything.
Remember Ghostbusters?
I thought you liked
And
this
homage.
movie, Phil.
I didn't say that. I said I'm in the middle.
Why does Muncher now conveniently bite through things? He was chewing on
5'10".
the.
He was
Taller than me. Good for you, Finn.
he was
He
Chloe.
was chewing on the
How tall is Chloe?
what do you call
That
it?
doesn't make sense.
You
The
mean McKenna
the
Grace?
fucking
Whoever played Chloe.
what's the word
You
I'm
mean
looking for?
Phoebe?
Yes, thank you.
What's the word I'm
I
looking for?
didn't
Fire
even see the
hydrant.
movie.
He's chewing on the fire hydrant. He's chewing on the pipes, and now for some reason he bites through everything.
I think he was biting through it before.
But he wasn't biting through the fire hydrant. He was chewing on it.
I liken it to a toddler and how they
5
gnaw through things. She's 5 foot.
So Zool,
nitpick.
who honestly, Olivia Wilde looks fantastic as Zool. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
Is that the basically the same reincarnation similar to Sigourney
This-
Weaver?
Sorry, she's not Zool. She's Gozer.
The CG veins was awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
it did look cool.
Is she
but
like
she pops out-
independent, or is she a real person who's possessed by?
no,
Gozer?
she's
Nope,
independent.
she's Gozer.
straight up. She's not even a ghost. She's like a
The
demon
ghost, yeah.
or a god.
That Ivor Shandor was calling for.
Did they
Also,
successfully bust her?
Do you know who was
Yes.
dressed up as Ivo Shandor? Do you know who that was?
No.
They make no mention of it. It's J.K. Simmons dressed up as Igor.
Yeah, I
Ivo
saw him
Shandor.
listed in the post.
Because he doesn't even talk really in the movie. But so Phoebe shows up in front of Gozer. What's Gozer supposed to say the first time she meets someone?
Are you a god?
What does she say to Phoebe?
And I don't remember.
That's right. You don't remember
didn't
what
re-
she says
did
because
she
she
say
doesn't say
anything?
anything
No.
to fucking Phoebe.
She just looks at her.
The only way to stop Zool last time was to cross the streams. This time, apparently, you can just suck her into a trap. Because later, we've got to go and suck her into a bigger trap.
Yeah, in this it's shown that she's built up of all the ghosts.
But why can you just suck her into a trap?
Because you have so many traps that
Why
each
she-
ghost is going to a place. If you had only one trap, you couldn't do it because it would only capture one ghost out of her. She's
and
like
for
made up of
somebody
ghosts.
like, let's say I'm new to this series, I'm not. I've never seen 2, but why is Gozer like the be all end all of all ghosts? Like, what's their connection to all the ghosts? Why are
I
they
don't
them-
think it's just being on all ghosts, just those ghosts.
Gozer is like the leader of the ghosts.
Yeah, it's like
The head
I don't
demon.
think like all ghosts in the world report to Gozer. I
But
think it's
Gozer,
Just the ones in
if you're thinking
Oklahoma.
of,
Just
if you're
the
thinking
ones
of,
there, yeah.
if you're thinking of like Hitler, the Gozer would be like one of the Reichsstaff. So there's Hitler on the top, and then there's all
Goebbels.
his top guys. Gozer would be one of those guys, and then Ivo Shandor is kind of like one of the
Adolf
guys just helping
Eichmann.
open the door, right?
We all know what happened in 1945.
That's right. The war wasn't over yet.
big mass.
It ended in
party.
May 16th, around there.
Mass
45. I thought it was
all over the
46.
place.
It was officially
It was a good
done
time.
in 1946.
And
39
But
to
I might be
45.
wrong.
They didn't cross.
I thought it was
the
39
streams on
46,
that
but maybe I'm
day.
wrong.
But maybe they did.
The
and
3
that's what
remaining
happened.
Ghostbusters showing up did not feel as insulting as I thought it would. When
Why
it
did
comes
you
and
think it
shows
would be
them,
insulting?
Because this whole movie, especially the third
The whole
act,
movie hits you on the head with everything.
but the third act is just the third act of the first movie.
1935, by the way.
30
45. by the way.
45. But so they just kind of show up. They're dressed in their Ghostbusters 2 outfits, which I guess that's a way to say that Ghostbusters did like the darker suits.
And
they-
that's probably all that was left over, because
Right.
Egon took the initial
Egon took them.
outfits.
Well, then where do they get their proton packs?
Maybe they had their own. I don't.
Yeah,
even
that
know.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they stopped by the house. There was more there.
Then they show little Phoebe has got the proton pack that she built with Ghost Egon. She's firing it at Gozer. And then they show a ghost hand come around hers. And I was like, if they stop it there, that is perfect. That's all you need. Because you know it's Egon. You don't need to show it's Egon. You know it's Egon. So just show his hand on hers. It's the grandfather helping his daughter, helping her become everything she's going to become, helping her be the girl she needs to be.
That made me tear up. But then,
That's where it should have stopped.
but
Like the whole movie?
No, that's where any
without
reference to
showing
Egon
anymore.
should have stopped. But then they got a can, and what's fucked
Sounds
up is
like
they
bad
pan
direction.
the camera just like this, and there's fucking Ghost Egon. Now, Ghost Harold Ramis did look good. I will give it that. He did look very, very good.
Okay, that's good. Then.
But it was so insulting, and
wasn't
it was.
his son or something? Or
No, I think it's. I think
It's
it's CG.
it's like archival footage of him.
Yeah, they just
and
did the
and then part Ivan Reitman body doubled, and then
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Reitman and Harold Ramis were similar to each other. Like
everyone
body type.
mixes them up anyway.
But the point is, like, if they had just left it on the hand, that was such a touching moment. When that
really-
happened, I wasn't tearing up, but I was like, "That's touching. That's good."
I really enjoyed when
also
he,
Bob Gunton, aka
when
the
he
warden
showed
from Shawshank. Also
when
double.
he showed up with with the crew. I loved that. That was
It was so emotionally manipulative that I was like, and even
Oh, yeah,
Bill Murray turns
loved
and
it.
looks at him and gives him this look, and I almost felt like if you're looking at Bill Murray, Bill Murray's kind of like, "Huh." So we're doing this. Like that's what it felt like was going on in his head.
But it matches the character because he's kind of like, oh yeah, of course that's what happened. Like,
But and one scene I really did like is when he's like, all right, let's hit her. And Winston's like, yeah, that's right, bitch. We're gonna get you. And then she just goes and blows out of his hands. And it's worth a try. Yeah, I like that. That was classic fucking Venkman. But as soon as you see Egon's ghost, I was like, this sucks, dude. It should have stopped at the hand.
I loved how they played back to like, are you a god? And he had to think about it for a minute. It was like, what should I answer with?
Right? But that's what he should have asked Phoebe. And I get it that they saved that joke for that scene. Yeah. But I was like, God damn it doesn't feel right when she doesn't say it to Phoebe. So, Ghost Egon's stupid. Also, you answer this.
Okay.
Why does Egon not get sucked up in the trap when all the other ghosts do?
That's what I was immediately thought that when it was happening. I was like,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because the worst is all the ghosts are being sucked down, and all the wind is sucking them down, and even the fucking ghost Egon's hair is blowing all around.
This field is made out of like
he's supposed to be sucked into a trap. He's supposed to be sucked into the trap. It's ghosts. It sucks up ghosts.
At the moment that was happening, was he
a ghost? Yes, he was a ghost, which means that he should be sucked up into the fucking trap.
Was he off to the side?
That's right. That was the reason. Because he was a foot out of the area where that trap would grab.
You have to be specific with these traps.
Holy fuck.
Are they in this movie? I don't think so.
Because this area is like spread out, so it's just like one giant trap, basically. But then it just splits apart.
As long as I've known Jason Reitman's work, he's never been geologically
Egon's
specific.
daughter looks over at Egon and says, huh. And Egon looks at her and goes, So she goes over and hugs him.
Geographically.
I immediately
there
feel
was
better.
Nothing there. There was just
I'll hug nothing. I'm hugging a ghost. I forgive you for abandoning me and ruining my whole life.
Because she saw that
and
wall.
And then he goes, tra-la-la-la-la. And he flutters away. I was like, holy fucking shit.
Also remember that she's emotional after turning into a terror dog and having sex with Paul Rudd.
It was.
Yes, that happened.
Wait,
it
what?
was so.
He skipped over it.
Who has sex with the sexiest man
I
alive?
was out of the theater at that time. I think they had sex, didn't they?
Because it's the gatekeeper and the keymaster. Right?
Oh,
so they become the gatekeeper. It's the third act.
Who's
of the first
woman
movie.
though?
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde.
The mom. Olivia Wilde
Carrie
plays
Coon.
Gozer.
Yeah.
It is the third act of the first movie.
Even weirder because they come out of the terror dogs, like they get released, and then one of the black girl becomes the terror dog. All of a sudden,
why
it's just
not?
like, why not?
Yeah, sure.
What's the terror dog?
Remember the Zool dogs?
Zool dogs.
Yeah, okay.
But my closing fucking notes. Oh, I thought it was a Starbucks. And that's what I brought up before. But Ernie Hudson goes, no, I bought everything up.
Could be terror.
Why would Ernie Hudson buy everything up? Why? To what purpose?
What do you mean buy everything up?
Ernie, so Winston Zedmore goes back to school or goes into real estate and becomes a billionaire, and decides to go and buy the firehouse.
That's the reason. It's the convenience of being able to do another movie.
Now, why did he buy the firehouse?
So the next movie
not
can
homage.
happen.
What's the nostalgia?
So he bought a firehouse
If he's a billionaire,
in New York.
Exactly. It's cheap.
Just to say, hey, I own this firehouse.
Yes.
Does he do anything with it?
He says
I'm going to make it a Starbucks.
He buys the farm.
And I'm going to throw the
it's
fucking
because
Starbucks
billionaires
out.
are so great, Rob. They're a gift
It's
to
assumed
us.
that he
That's what
bought
the
the
movies
farm.
say.
It was Egon that bought the farm.
He bought the firehouse. He bought the car. What else did he buy? They said he bought something else.
I don't remember.
That was Ghostbusters related.
I remember he bought Ecto 1.
This is all a setup so that they can do a new one in New York with a new crew.
Closing thoughts on this movie are that it is horribly manipulative, unnecessary, too much fan service, and similar to every version since the first one.
Yes.
And similar to everyone since the first version, it does not make me want to be a Ghostbuster. That was the magic of the first movie, is kids wanted to go be Ghostbusters. Nothing since has made you want to be a Ghostbuster.
Before we rate this,
wait.
Will's got questions.
No. I was just gonna ask: is it something of an achievement that like it's as close to the Ghostbusters formula, despite taking place in a completely different area, or it's just
It is
achieves
closer to the Ghostbusters formula than the 2016 one. That's the only thing I'll say about it. The 2016 one is an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
This one is closer.
The director apparently didn't even want to make a Ghostbusters movie. They went after him because he had success with Bridesmaids and stuff.
Yeah.
Paul Feig has made, I think, 2 good movies in his life.
Bridesmaids in the Heat.
Bridesmaids and Heat. Yeah.
I really liked the Heat. I thought it was
So did I.
pretty fun.
And you know
Spy
what?
is pretty funny. Jason Statham.
I think I by Spy, I was starting to get to the point where, okay, I get the Paul Feig formula. It's like the Police Academy formula. I'm starting to get a little tired of it. I'd like Paul Feig to maybe try the Freaks and Geeks angle again, to try maybe delving into a little bit more drama than
Did
he's
you ever
used to.
see? Did you see then the movie he did with Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick? I forget what it's called.
Duets? No.
No, that is a Huey Lewis movie from the year
Oh
2000.
yeah, I love that movie. No,
I still want to see
Is
it.
it
It's
on
on my
your
list.
top 10 Christmas
it's
classics?
the a cappella movie, right?
No.
No?
It's
I'm definitely
A
not
Simple
seeing it.
Favor. That's what it's called. So he did that. That's like a bizarre French type
I'd let Anna
weird
Kendrick do
drama.
me a simple favor.
Yeah, and then he also did Last Christmas last year with Amelia Clark and Henry Golding.
Do you have any questions about the movie? From
No,
all the stuff you've heard.
Yeah, I'll.
Do you have any questions?
Because I've asked them
us about the movie.
Yeah, I've
For
asked
you,
them throughout.
What would you watch again? I'll never watch this again.
I'll watch it again.
But if you had to, would you rather watch this or the 2016 version?
This.
Right.
Could someone else have done this movie better?
Yes.
Nope.
Who?
I see. I would have him. Oh, I don't even know how I go about that.
There's
doesn't
no
matter.
way you can.
Someone could do. This movie wasn't very good.
No.
Sure.
It was like, to me, it's 6 out of 10 because of nostalgia. But if you didn't care about Ghostbusters and you don't have like, there's something to say about someone who's coming
Wes
in who
Anderson.
Fuck.
doesn't know Ghostbusters,
Does it?
like and becomes a fan out of this movie because it's like a casual Ghostbusters movie that sells Ghostbusters stuff. That's great. And weirdly enough, it's gotten such great reviews. Like,
It's 63%.
95.
That's not great.
no,
but
I'm
it's fan stuff.
I don't
The
care about the critics. I do not give two shits about a critic score because it does not matter, and we've proved that over and over
The
again.
only time
We're
I care about
critics, though.
critic score is when they're
Exactly.
low and
Don't
audience
give a
is
shit what
high.
we think. Give a shit what the audience thinks. Give a shit what you think.
That's right.
I always think it's a mix of both. Like
No. For me, if it's 50-50, I know that I might like it. If it's low critic score, high audience score, I'm definitely going to like it because it's going to be either really fun or really stupid.
Which is this movie?
No.
Because
If
this
it's-
movie has 95% audience
Which
score.
is crazy.
Yeah. But then there's flukes like this. But then there's
I don't think
shit
it's a
like,
fluke.
was it Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always? An absolute garbage art house piece of shit movie.
I love that movie,
Had like
actually.
95% critic score, like 20% audience score.
I did not think I would like it.
That's exactly why. Those types of movies, watch them to understand what makes a
This-
shit art
this
house.
is a
movie.
we
nostalgia-
gotta have a conversation because I thought like your opinion on that movie, by the way, is what
Sucks.
I thought I was gonna think about it when I saw it.
Somewhere else though,
It
because
didn't.
we got to get back to
Yeah,
this.
yeah, sure.
This
Did you finish going through the plot though?
It doesn't matter. We're done. The nostalgia. This is a nostalgia score. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Ghostbusters fans who wish they had a better movie, but will say, "Oh, I at least
I'll
got
settle
this."
for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yep.
what it feels like to
Yep,
me. Of people
that's
like,
exactly
I'll
right.
settle for anything.
Like, I'm interested to see if, like, when I get it digitally, if I'm gonna like it a little more, like going over it again.
Does your opinion really change when you?
Sometimes
Mine never does.
not like crazy.
I've changed
no.
my opinion maybe once.
Mine does.
Especially when I have a bad
if-
theater
if-
experience.
If I
Yeah,
see,
depending on
Thor, the
where I am the
Dark
second
World or
viewing.
whatever.
Yeah, where I am the second viewing
that
or the
was
third
bad.
viewing or whatever. And also, like, if a movie sticks in my brain and I think about, even if it's a shit movie, if it sticks in my brain and I think about it, like, oh, that's, then I'll usually increase my rating or my opinion of a movie. But when a movie is instantly forgettable, or all I like about it is like, Jesus Christ, I hope I never see that again, that's when I'm like, this is not a movie for me.
but what would you do with the franchise going forward? Either
I
of you?
would let it die, let it go, let Ghostbusters
I-
be
To
this
me-
wonderful little
No.
movie that existed
No,
for us
it's
in the
gonna
80s.
keep going.
To me, Ghostbusters seems to me like it should be a franchise, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't
No.
quite get it.
Yeah,
The
I
movie
agree
does
with you.
not work as that original movie does not work as a franchise.
What if they did
at
this?
all.
What if they did this?
It does, though.
What
Look
if
at-
they,
it's
even though it's
cartoon.
not canon?
No, I don't think.
What
it
if
does.
they did multiverse style and then they brought in the
Fuck.
female
You'd be fucking
Ghostbusters?
all about
No,
it.
no,
You'd
no,
love the
no,
variant idea. They're all fucking
That's-
fighting ghosts, and then the girls
I
come
have
in
an
and
opinion.
They're gonna
I have an
redo
opinion, Rob.
the new crew.
I have an opinion, Rob, and I have this conversation with my brother every few years, and I remember we had it in like 2007 of like, oh, what's gonna happen after all these trilogies wrap up? Because 2007 there were like 6 trilogies. And there were 7 trilogies that were all wrapping up. And I said, and this is the year before Iron Man, I discussed with my brother, what's going to be the next thing? And I said, I think it's going to be the thing of like, and I basically said like the spin-off or the contained universe of like, oh, it's not going to be about the example I use, like Spider-Man, but it's going to be about like somebody who lives in Spider-Man's neighborhood, and it's going to be within that universe, but it's not going to be that. The thing that I think is going to happen that I've been
Marvel
saying
for
for the
sure.
past couple
Yeah,
years
I
is
think it's
the
all they've gotta do.
multiverse. Because we have so many different variations of like male Ghostbusters, female Ghostbusters and stuff. These are things that aren't rid from the public consciousness. Like people are smart now. I think that people can understand without getting confused all these different versions of this stuff if it's done well, and that's what I think it's going to be. It's going to go from the shared universe. You have to go to a bigger idea. It's going to be multiverse, and that's what it's going to be like for
should
franchises.
never be a
Yeah.
franchise, ever.
No,
All you have to do is make a good movie.
They're gonna do the new cast
I'll
with,
still
with
watch-
the legacy cast,
Nope.
and I actually wrote out the first part of the next movie.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay,
God damn it! Hurry up. We're at an hour and
I'll
12
doesn't matter.
minutes.
It
should I
doesn't
do that
matter.
in the podcast?
No,
No,
do
no,
it
no,
fucking
okay.
now. This is a podcast.
A
Oh, no,
rise,
well,
a rise in paranormal activity in New York causes Winston, whom takes care of the Ghostbusters properties, Peter and Ray, to meet up at the Ghostbusters firehouse to discuss what's going on.
Why doesn't Egon act like the new Slimer?
Surprisingly, the Ghostbusters phone rings. Ray answers, and he's surprised by an old client calling for help from the Ghostbusters. They decide that they are going to have to suit up again and help. They arrive at the library or the hotel from the original movie, a callback. They tiredly manage to take down a ghost that they are old. Okay, but they are old and completely out of energy. When Ray goes to empty the trap into the containment unit, he finds the alarm of the containment unit going off from the end of this movie. Okay, something crazy is going on. The phone is ringing off the hook, but they realize they can't do this at their age. Winston suggests that they do what they did with him and hire someone. They decide it would be best to hire a new team to bust the ghosts while the legacies manage. That way you can have them still
Sure.
in the movie.
Ghostbusters headquarters.
They hire 2 new characters for the team and then fan service and bring in Paul Rudd from Afterlife and
he's a geologist.
bring in Kate McKinnon because she was the best part of the 2016 movie and they can get away with it.
God.
They should just bring in all of them or
Kate
none of them.
McKinnon again.
The other 2 on the team,
I didn't think
I
it was
want
that
to be Keenan Thompson from SNL. And then you have to bring in some like
Keegan-Michael Key.
multicultural
Keegan-Michael Key.
young woman.
Woman.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to.
I
but
think
okay.
you have to. In any movie, you have to do that because
Why can't they just bring in?
If it were white,
A better
my
question
problem.
is, if it was a fucking Starbucks, does that mean that they had... did they have that ghost trap going off constantly when it was a Starbucks?
No, I think it just started after what happened here in Ohio. Somehow it's linked
I
or something.
have one question actually. What do you think is going to be the legacy of this film? Because for me, like
That it was a
we
failure.
discussed Halloween a couple
Marketing.
of weeks ago. Okay, and Halloween came
I
out.
think this will be remembered as a failure.
Halloween was well reviewed.
No.
It made a lot of money. And then when people like me saw
forgotten.
it, I know everybody who said that the Halloween 2018 Halloween sequel was like terrible. And I mean, it's still being written because of the trilogy is still out there, and people will make their assessment. But my question is, there are some movies that even if they're well reviewed and stuff, they come out like Catching Fire, which I rewatched.
Artist.
Decent, well put together movie. Nothing going for it. You watch it, and it's like it's.
That's
it
usually what
it
happens
gets
with Oscar bait
referenced in-
movies.
It gets
Oscar bait
referenced like Hawkeye, and it's gone.
King Richard. King Richard is going to be, oh my God, best
movie
picture.
that Will
It's gonna
Smith
get
won
a
an
shit
Oscar
ton
for.
Of, yep, shit ton of Oscars, and then it's going to disappear. Same as The Artist fucking disappeared.
I don't think this
The Artist disappear. I
Right?
still haven't seen all of
There's
that movie.
tons of movies like
because
that.
this
They're
is
big
in
and
a
they
loved
disappear.
franchise and got so much fan service. I think that it's just going to always be.
I,
remembered.
but
I
it's
feel like
it's
this will
gonna
be
just-
this
it'll
will
be
be
Ghostbusters too.
This will be the Attack
Yeah.
of the Clones.
Yeah, maybe.
This will be the Attack of the Clones of this series, where it's the one that we kind of have to acknowledge
You know what
that
I
it
want
existed.
to? You know
but
what I
nobody
want
really
to
likes
see,
it.
just out of spite for the behavior that I've seen of some of the Ghostbusters fans, is that I want the female Ghostbusters, even though I hate that movie, to like endure somehow out of like spite, because it's like. In my
I
opinion,
think
shitty fan service is
what
the
would be
reason we got
good
this movie, which I'll still see, and I'm
is
still excited to see it. I still want to see it.
They should have.
I'll enjoy myself, but yeah.
All the guys like you just had in your plot synopsis of everybody, like the Ghostbusters Raiders are too old to do this, and then all of the fucking fans who love the Ghostbusters, they're all the people that come in to fucking help them out. So it is literal fan service. All the fans are
Just
coming
like
to fucking
in the
help you
bad
out.
Spider-Man
I'm sorry, you're
movies.
telling me that's worse than Egon's fucking
No,
ghost
they're
living on a
gonna
farm?
They
wanna
did
get
that
it-
in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and it's
No,
always
they
terrible.
did it in the Spider-Man
Always
2 where
bad.
it's like, hey, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
I know, and that was hilariously
Crap.
done for like 5 seconds, but the part where they line up all the cranes and everything was so bad. That's how it would be in this movie.
They're going to want to go for the chemistry of the first movie and get a new cast and try to find that chemistry. It's
They
going to be
tried that
super
with
hard.
hard.
Answer the Call. They
Yeah,
tried that and
I,
they failed.
Yes.
I wish because I enjoyed that first Ghostbusters so goddamn much. I'm not a Ghostbusters fucking mega fan by any
Oh,
stretch
I
of the
didn't even
imagination.
say what I thought of it.
But it was Ghostbusters 1 is a wonderful jewel of a movie. And it should be by itself. It should have never been franchised. Leave it alone. Just let it be this
Can I say
wonderfully
something
good
about
movie.
my
Two is a
Ghostbusters experience?
kids movie.
2 is a kids movie, yep. And the cartoon was fine. But that first one is just remembered as
Cartoon
a
was
wonderful.
I
fine.
saw-
It was one of
so-
the best
Oh,
things.
shut your face.
As a child,
But
for
that
me,
movie should just be a jewel that we all go back to and go, God damn, that fucking
But
Ghostbusters was
you
fun.
know, for me, I saw Ghostbusters when I was a kid. I think I saw it on like VHS or it was on TV or we had taped it.
I ran out of the
And-
theater.
and-
No,
and-
I'm sorry, I didn't
How
run out
long
of
it's
the
been
theater.
since you watched it?
Yeah. No, it's not. Okay.
I
Let me-
annoyed
let
the
me
guy who was
fucking
in the seat
finish.
behind me because I kept on. I was terrified of it, so I'm watching it and I just kept my head between the fucking seat beside me, and the guy who was behind me was like, because I kept on staring at him. I wouldn't look at the screen because I was so
Scared?
afraid.
Oh,
So-
how old are you?
Oh fuck, 84. I was 77.
So you saw it in theaters.
Only a
Yeah,
couple
I was
years
7 years old.
right? It's
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
And you still remember that experience. You
Fucking
must have
right,
seen,
I do.
Did you? And you saw 2 in theaters.
Don't remember 2 in theater. I probably did, but I do not remember.
is
But
70, so-
I remember.
Did you see any
I
of
remember
them in
seeing it in
theaters?
theaters.
I don't think so. No.
So
VHS probably.
yeah, so it's like I saw it on VHS. I loved it. It seemed like such a cool idea to me. And then I like didn't see it for a long, long time. And I remember it was one of the movies that played on the bus on my way to the trip to New York in high school.
Remember
And
those?
I watched it and I remember I'm like, one, it was like when a movie, it's like, wow, this movie's way shorter than I remember. Like, you ever have that feeling? And it's like, I'm like, oh, it's okay. But I saw it weirdly as like a kid's movie, despite all the references and stuff like that. And I've always felt, and then I rewatched it recently, and I didn't think it was that funny. Like, I thought it was a tiny bit dated, and it's like, the thing that I'm chasing with the Ghostbusters franchise is like, I believe that you can make a movie that's even better than the original Ghostbusters if they tried to
Not a
make
chance. Not a
if they
chance.
tried to make it
Not
like you
this
can't
day
capture
and
the
age.
same thing. But it's like, okay, let me go another route then. It
was a
like the
different
movie
time.
Predator, people think is perfect, and it's a pretty good movie. The movie Predators is a decent movie.
It's adequate. Yeah.
That's all.
it.
I believe that another decent movie of this franchise can be made. I don't think it's
This
milk
was
dry.
decent, but it's on the edge.
Based on what you guys said for like the last hour
like I
and
said, I said
15 minutes.
It was a
6
poor,
out of 10.
It was a poor imitation of the
What's your
original.
rating?
But 6 out of 10. I think that's a perfect way to
That's
put it.
decent.
no,
That's
it's not.
adequate.
For
That's
the,
adequate.
For the
5 is okay. Let's watch. Like
Is it-
it's not awful. 5 isn't awful.
for a movie that spent like this much money, like $75 million plus like $100 million marketing budget, I'm
They've
sure.
made
Is
it
that
back.
worth it? Does that seem? Well, they haven't made it back yet.
They will.
Will it?
Once
Will
the
they? It's
DVD
COVID.
comes
Yeah, they will.
It's made close to
Remember
about $89 million.
Remember how many toys they're selling as well.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's how
that's
they'll
right.
make it.
You can
They'll-
buy a character. You can buy a little figure
But will
of
the movie
podcast
itself? Yeah, but like, will the movie
with this
itself?
little
You think?
podcast
Yeah,
antenna.
I think it will. I
Okay.
think after after the digital release, after the Blu-ray release,
I want
of course,
Ghostbusters.
even maybe beforehand.
Much like Bill Murray, I want Ghostbusters to stop. because the best is behind them, far behind them.
I think
and
it
will
just
never be
needs new
reached
creative
again.
ideas, and this movie didn't have enough of it.
Nope.
But I'm still excited to see the movie.
You should be. It's fun, but you're gonna
The
go
reason-
into it with a lower expectation, and you're gonna and maybe you'll like it.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like the key to me. It's just like I didn't enjoy. I really love Juno and Up in the Air and Thank You for Smoking. They're great movies. Jason
Thank You for
Reitman
Smoking is
hasn't
fun.
made like a really great movie in a long time.
Tully sucked.
I
man.
thought Tully was like the sad thing was Tully to me was like passable considering like the what was the campaign? I still can't even remember the name of the campaign movie he did about Gary Hart. That was The Front Runner. That was a terrible movie that he made. But anyways, it's just kind of like found it distasteful from the beginning of them like Jason Reitman making it in the first place after 4 movies to resuscitate his own career.
Did you feel any nepotism in this movie?
Define
Yes.
nepotism.
How about the
Because
director being
you're-
hired because his dad directed the
his
movie?
dad made the original.
Well, I
his
think
dad
that
produces
was the
this.
point.
But did you
Yeah.
feel it in the movie?
Yeah.
Do you think they could have like steered like because my thing is that Ghostbusters to me has always been split of like 2 ideas because I always thought that Ghostbuster could be an adult like an R-rated comedy.
Yes.
Like and it just kind of refuses to make that. And that
That's
bothers me
money.
a little.
That's why the first
They're
one
worried.
works so perfectly. Bill Murray thinks he's making an R-rated movie. Everyone else knows
You,
they're
you
not.
also
do you
have to
got-
remember the comedy of that age is different.
Yeah,
from
it's
now.
more
Like,
risque.
You can't do that.
Do you guys think though that like somebody I know he's not as popular as he once was, but if like the right producers like Amy Pascal and then like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg got a hold of it and they like wrote something and then they got a director like not necessarily Wes Anderson or something,
they need
but
a
like
good
somebody on
director.
board who knew what they were
Wes
doing and they had like a decent director and a decent writer and they all agreed that they could make a good movie.
I'd
even,
say-
even an up and coming director that wants to prove himself, that might it could go either way. But
no, I don't think the way that the franchise is set up, they would never.
The Ghostbusters was the original
Give it to
Ghostbusters.
Trachtenberg.
Only
No, he's-
I love
works because of its actors. Only works because of
Yeah.
those 3 actors. And Winston, to a point, absolutely, Ernie Hudson is great. But it only works because of those 3 characters, those actors playing those characters, which is like fucking lightning. Like it's a bolt of lightning. You'll never catch it again. Every other movie that they've made since, they're caricatures. Think of the idiot kids in this movie. They're characters. They're not people.
Yeah, you're
the
right.
first one, they're people.
And
right?
they were in on the joke. Like the whole thing was a joke
Yep.
to them, and
Yep.
and they showed it. Like it felt like it was all improvised,
And it should
mostly
not
was.
work. That movie, first Ghostbusters, should not work.
Yeah, and-
you know
and
when
they
you
were
look at it
worried
on
about
paper,
that.
I mean, they were
Yeah.
terrified of it.
Yeah.
But then you watch, and this is perfect. And then you watch everything that comes after it. You're like, this doesn't work because they're trying so hard.
I know you hate it, but like the movies that made us, did you see the episode of Ghostbusters that they did of like
I don't remember.
they
Or-
were
or
basically
the
like,
back-
I'm not sure if Bill Murray's gonna show up, and then they're like, first day he showed up, and then it's like this movie was trying to get greenlit for ages, and then it turns out that it got sent to another studio or something, and the person in charge was a guy who was previously a producer on the movie when it failed to get off the ground, and he was head of the studio, and he was the one who greenlit it. So basically,
When
a guy gets fired, goes back around, gets a higher position, and then he's the one who greenlights the Ghostbusters movie.
When I
through
watched this
happenstance.
movie as a teenager, and I was, one of those fucking fuck everything teenagers. Still, I am now. I'm an asshole and a
You
sort
don't
of a
say.
dickhead. I love this movie that much more because Bill Murray has absolutely no interest in being in that movie. When he comes in and he's
What
playing
does
the piano,
Bill
and her
Murray
part-
have interest in doing?
nothing. I think Bill
He's a
Murray
nihilist?
likes being a comedian, and every now and then he wants
He
to work.
likes being wanted.
He seemed like, but to me, he seemed like his cameo again in Zombieland 2 was like inspired.
and he'll be there for a day. He's like, "This is fun. This is a good idea."
He
And
likes
he'll do
He
those.
that.
does that,
Yeah.
and he
But-
shows up in
and
Wes
he likes,
Anderson.
He likes
movies.
Wes Anderson movies. He likes movies like Broken Flowers. He likes movies
that
like
movie
Life
any good?
Aquatic. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But he likes just all right. It's the last thing I'll say about it. But Bill Murray likes quirky, weird things, and he likes being dramatic. You know what I mean? He likes kind of a broken man. That's what I think he really likes in his movies. He likes being kind of a broken guy.
But Saint Vincent was fucking terrible.
But then you watch him in this, and he's broken because Bill Murray doesn't want to be Peter Venkman anymore. And you watch him in that first one, he's like, I have no interest in being here, but I got to get paid.
The payday. I think there's a little bit of interest, or else he wouldn't do it at all.
I think he wanted to make Jagged Edge, and he said, the only way I'm going to be in this
What's
is if
Jagged
you guys...
Edge?
It's a drama movie that he made just after
yeah.
this. And he's like, I'll do that so I can do this. But him not wanting to be there, that first one, especially that fucking scene in Dana's apartment, I love that scene. Because as a teenager, I was like, fuck the world, fuck you people, this is bullshit, I'm not gonna fucking do anything you people tell me to do. And he comes in and he's like, oh, they hate this. When he's playing the piano.
But it worked.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Fucking loved it.
So it's
Okay.
And
And you'll
anyway.
never capture that again, ever.
Thank you for watching Ghostbusters Afterlife review on Watch and Complain. You can catch us at watchandcomplain.com and all the stuff's there. And
Filmgamer.com.
Find us at the movies theaters.
yeah, don't talk.
Phil will go.
Yeah.
You
Or
won't
we'll,
see
all
me.
complain while we're watching.
But that Cineplex manager was really nice, and he said, "There's nothing really I can do, but here's the free passes," which is what they do. So
For all of you or just you?
for all of us,
Okay, that's
Did you use them for this movie or are you going to use them for another
Spider-Man.
movie? Fuck. That's
And
what
then-
you were
and
working
then-
towards the entire time. You were
This
angling
movie
the
was
whole
petty.
time
No.
to get into
for
Spider-Man for
Sony's
free.
one good movie that they're making.
and I won't have to go to the theaters for The Matrix. So yay!
Where do you guys think this falls on the scale of? I know you guys aren't as big behind the scenes, but like in terms of Sony's priority list of Ghostbusters versus Spider-Man, obviously Spider-Man is there.
Spider-Man's way
But how much
higher.
further down was this? Like one rung, two rungs, three rungs?
This was a base. This was basically an experiment
Yeah.
when it comes to Sony.
It's
Yeah, I'd say that, hey, we got this thing called Ghost Corpse that we wasted a shit ton of money on. Any idea we can get money back in this? We can get like maybe $50 back into the fucking piggy bank for Ghost Corpse. All right, put it out.
They certainly like waited the right amount of time to like release this movie. Actually,
And another one's gonna come out.
Great.
do you think that it's going to be like right away, or do you think it's going to be like Star Trek sequels where it like somehow takes them 4 years to do
I think
something?
they're
like
gonna
this?
do it as soon as possible.
No one's excited for the
I
next
don't
one.
think it's gonna be direct sequel. I think it's gonna be basically my idea, but
Answer
different,
the call.
obviously.
I hope it never gets made.
Watch and complain.
I watched and complained about Ghostbusters.
And I didn't watch, but I complained.
Fuck off, Phil.